Hello, I am in my childhood playhouse, where me and my sister used to play. Oh, sorry, still working on the camera. When we were kids, I'm just sitting here because I wanted to live stream from this place on Twitch, and so since I've done my makeup, I might as well. Today I'm gonna talk about the movie Cube that was recommended to me, or like put on my watch list from Patreon, and so I watched it. I took a bunch of notes. I left my notebook at home, but I remember it. I remember it kind of vividly, and if anything extra to add, I'll put that in between. But context first. What is the movie about? We wake up first as a person who we don't really get to know. It's just like a random person who wakes up inside a cube. They wake up inside a cube, a big cube with different doors to it. So it's above there's a door, in the bottom, and on all sides there's doors that you have to kind of unlock. And so they open a door, but then going into the cube, they die. Because there's traps in some of the cubes, not all the cubes, and so it's a cube with a bunch of cubes. I don't know how do I explain this in a good way, but basically there's a lot of cubes and you can move from one cube to another. They're identical except for the trap inside being different, but other than that, they're all the same. They look the same, maybe different colors, but still. So when they're traveling throughout this cube, trying to find out what cubes are not traps, they meet other people that are also put into these cubes. And they don't know how they got there, but they're in these cubes and they together now have to try and find out how to get out of there. And you know, obviously, as with every news story, you don't know the characters that you're there with. You don't know them. You don't know how they're gonna act. You don't know what their specialty is, which is obviously something you get to know throughout. And I really liked the way they introduced those like specialties and all to like the viewers, but also like the other characters, because everyone is just in a cube with each other and us the whole time. Like when a character gets to know something about someone, so do we, and vice versa. Like if we get to know something, pretty much everyone else in the cube is also gonna know it. Near the end, I was like, well, obviously the saving grace is gonna be the person who's not been introduced yet, because their solution to everything hasn't been told yet. But then it's told and everything's fixed, right? That's every movie. I don't feel like that's a spoiler. That's how every movie works, right? Now, the first person I think you come across as like one of the actual characters in the movie, Quentin is his name? At first, oh god. Stupid Quentin. At first, I like the look of him. I think he's gonna be a good character. I thought it was gonna be a good character. But as soon as he's like taking the leader role, I'm like, oh fuck, you're gonna fuck shit up. I know you're gonna fuck shit up. And it's like, I think it's the trope of I'm the leader, or I am brave enough, I am arrogant enough to put myself in the leader role. And so in a movie setting, of course you're gonna end up being like shit. I fuck things up all the time. They're like, okay, I'm gonna make the big decisions no matter what anyone else says. So yeah, he's the first one we meet. He says he's a cop. I mean, he says a lot of things, but I don't know what I think of them. And I mean, we don't never see him outside of the cube, so we don't really know what that is. Like what he is, I mean. Then we meet another, is a girl who is pretty young. She's kind of not a teenager per se, but she's like young. She's younger. Her name is Levin? Leven? I don't know. I went through the whole movie thinking her name was 11. That was not a helpful character. I like her, and actually, she and one of the others were like two of the people that I was like rooting for them. I think everyone was. I mean, anyone watching the movie would have been rooting for someone at some point. Just like, who do you pick? Who's your warrior? And Leven and Worth were mine. Like, those two were like, okay, you're gonna get through this. I believe in you. Your mental state and your everything is just the solution. That's the solution. That's okay. I also think the other female character, I don't know why she needs to be a doctor. I genuinely have no idea at all. I like her too, but she's, whoa my god, how frantic she is. I think one of the good things, if I just kind of ignore all the different characters for a while, I think the character, like the different characters, I think they worked really well with each other. The way they interacted with each other, triggered each other, or you know, kind of worked together and all. I think it all made sense, and it made me think that this works well together. It's planned that every character has, you know, that and that role. Sometimes I think it was, okay, well now you're playing on the cliches of like, you know, if a person is good at math, then they know everything in math. They know exactly what those numbers mean. And if they're blah blah blah, then it means that they know everything about that thing. And that kind of bothered me a little bit at some point. But again, the characters just worked really well together. And obviously the point is that they all have a purpose in the cube for who knows why they're put in there. We don't know. We don't get to know. But I think that's good. I feel like it was executed very well. And because of, you know, just like small conversation they have in the cube, like the characters have with each other, things progress. Things turn into something else, and like between the characters, like they can love each other one moment and then just despise each other in the next. And I think also that was executed very nicely. Again, with the doctor lady being frantic at all times, that was something else, but still. Like, I liked her. Like, at some point, I actually really liked her. So it all just changes a lot, but I liked it. When I first saw the trailer, I was genuinely convinced I was gonna think, like, how the hell is a movie going to pull off being inside one cube for a fucking eternity? That's what it felt like. Like, watching the trailer, I'm like, they're gonna be in here the whole movie? Oh guys, I keep looking at the forest because I keep thinking I see things moving, but I don't. Like, nothing's moving. It's just my head moving, and then... okay. Anyway. Like, it, not that it wasn't a good trailer, but it was, like, your first impression is obviously they're inside a cube, and they move into another cube, and other than the colors being different, and maybe the traps being different, they're identical. It's just another cube. How do you get past that? How do you make such good content inside of the cube? And so obviously, character is like main thing. The characters are it's the biggest part, if you ask me, about the whole movie. I mean, obviously, you have a big conspiracy going behind them of like, why the fuck are we in this cube, right? Why are we here? How did we get here? Why did they pick us? I mean, I'm a doctor, why not any other doctor? And again, none of these questions necessarily get answered, but you still... It's always there, and it's causing this, like, conflict between the characters very nicely. Oh my god, is this a big movie? Is this, like, a well-known movie for being, like, purposeful and, like... Is it? I don't know. But in the beginning, you have Quentin saying to the prison man, the man who escapes prison. That's his job. I think that's his, like, occupation. He just escapes prisons. I don't know what else he does. The prison man, right? He says to the prison man, oh my god, you're that man. blah 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 blah. I know who you are. And Quentin says that he is a cop. And so that would, like, in the start of the movie, there's a fly. In the start of the movie, when that's introduced, you'd be like, okay, well, obviously Quentin knows who this prison man is because he's a cop and he follows, like, the crime news or whatever. At the end of the movie, well, first of all, I don't think Quentin is a cop. We never get to know if it's true or not, but, like, I don't personally think he's a cop. He doesn't, I mean, I could say that he acts like a cop, but I don't think he's a cop. I think he lied to get on the good side of the characters, of the other characters. And so another explanation for Quentin knowing about the prison man is because he is a prison man himself. That's my theory as well. I think it was mentioned. Oh, no, actually, I'm not sure if I imagined this or not. I've been really on this lately. I can't remember if what I have in my head is, like, real or if I've dreamed it. I've been so confused lately. What is reality? I don't know. But I think it was mentioned in the movie, like, oh, fuck, you're that person who abused his wife, or, like, I don't know, something crazy. And obviously that would be the answer. Then maybe he could still be a cop, I don't know. But, you know, that he likes a young woman because he was trying to be close to Levin? Ew. Well, actually, my point was, actually, I don't know where that was going, but my point was that I like how they evolved the characters throughout the story, even though necessarily maybe facts don't change. Maybe they didn't even lie, or they lied, but you wouldn't know until later because of the way they portray themselves, and because of the way the movie is portraying the characters, what they're saying, how they act, their decisions, their priorities, everything like that. Yeah, I think that was my point. I like the way that you get to see, like, they have the same motives now in the end as they did in the beginning, but now you get to see their actions, like their motives for, like, what they are. You get to see, like, well, he's being selfish. He's not trying to be protective. He's being selfish, for example. I like that. It's realistic. I feel like this must have been a very difficult movie to pull off, but they did it very well. I didn't look up who directed it or, like, who produced it or anything like that. I need to do that. I need to Google up and, like, get research on this, because damn, it was good. It was very well executed, and I think I'm a bit curious to see, like, what they've done afterwards, or, like, later. What did they make after 1997? I'm genuinely curious now. I feel like my brain is like, okay, well, time to Google. No. Let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it. One of my biggest issues with the end, I feel like my issue with the end, I mean, like, I feel like it would be an issue for multiple people. Quentin fucking sucks. Oh, how he bothered me. What's his problem? Oh, I mean, obviously he's, like, mentally ill, but it was like, he seemed very sane and he seemed, like, completely in control. But now he's just like a fucking rabid dog. He was just insane. I don't even know what to call that behavior. He's just murderous. I don't know if you can call it psychopathic, because he was feeling a bunch of stuff, but, well, maybe it is. Oh god, I can't even tell. He was stressing me out very much near the end, and it bothered me that I could kind of feel it coming. I couldn't see it coming, but I could feel it coming. I could feel, well, he's gonna be an issue. and then he's the biggest issue, you know? So, I mean, typical story where you have like, not the story is typical, but typically in a story, oh my god, you have a big antagonist, and then you have the closer antagonist, the one that's like you can see more clearly. It's not like the underlying issue, it's the thing that steps forward and shows itself as an issue that will be like a bonus issue to the issue at hand. Oh my god, I'm fucking hate myself. God. Okay. Never mind. Okay. What was I saying? And now I forgot. So it ends with the last guy who's introduced to the group, Ren? Is that his name? I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. I should have got no, I don't even think I wrote the name in the book, in my notebook. Anyway, the guy that was last introduced, I think his name is Ren. He had a lot of sensory issues regarding light, brightness, color, sounds, and I guess feelings too. Yeah, sensory issues regarding all those things. So he was stimming a lot with his hands. I don't forget exactly what it looked like, but he was stimming a lot, and so he wasn't speaking. He wasn't verbal as much. But at the end, obviously, he's the person who saves the day. Or, well, I mean, he does. Ren is obviously a genius. A complete genius in a way of remembering numbers. Or he's a genius within his own interests. Like, I think is kind of normal with a bunch of neurodivergent people, is that they have specific interests, or like they have like these hyper focuses on things and special interests in stuff when they like get really interested. They know all about it, and I love that, first of all. So I'm not sure exactly what his interests are. We don't really get to know Ren very much. So basically, I could just assume that he likes maths or numbers, or like that's part of his interest, is something with numbers, because of the way he was interacting with Leven, or the way, I mean, the movie ended. It makes sense that he was interested in numbers. And it saves the day. Apparently, one of the cut scenes from the movies were a scene of Worth before, like when he worked in the office, before he got taken, just sitting in the office, and then him waking up in the cube. But obviously that's not shown in the movie, in the finished product, because it was cut. I feel like I'm ranting. I feel like I have more things to say, but I can't put my words to it. I feel like it's just the tip of the tongue, but I can't find it quite. So I'm gonna end it here. But these are my thoughts on this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Highly recommend it, actually. Yeah, definitely. Because, like, you have such concepts. Like, you're in a cube. The movie is in a cube. Cubes within the cube, actually. How do you make that sound? How do you make that good? If you're any at all interested in movies, I feel like you should watch movies like that who go off of something so simple that is inherently very difficult to pull off. And you see how they do it. Because honestly, I feel like it's so interesting how the fuck do you pull it off? And now I feel like I should watch like movie essays about it, just to like understand like how did this actually work as well. And obviously characters is the big part. I feel like I said that already, but really, characters such a big part, and not evolution, but like the escalation of character relations like between each other. I want to find out how concepts like that work and what methods are used to like pull it off. I'm gonna look up some of it. Bye. Love you.